Hi everybody, I am going to um, show you how I edit silhouette images to get a really pretty sky. This image was shot at golden hour and the sun set over here. It was right outside the frame. So the light gradually comes in. So how I do this is I'm going to adjust the temperature and some of the colors, and this is not an exact science, so this is really adjusting to your liking. So I'm going to bump down the exposure, take down the blacks, take down the shadows to darken the subject. Um, and I'm going to go into here to saturation and pull up the reds and the oranges, and then we're going to pull up the magentas, the purples, some of the yellows. I'm going to take this down a little more, take down some of the highlights here. You can play with this and you can see if you bump up your magentas, you get a nice purple tone. I don't want it to be too cool. So I kind of like that the way it is. I'm going to open this up in Photoshop. The first thing I'm going to do is actually crop this image. Center her on this line right here. I'm going to go ahead and take my spot healing brush, and there's some digital dust and there were some bugs flying around, and I'm going to just fix that. Okay, so the first thing I do here is go to my selective color and go to my blacks, and I'm actually going to darken the blacks. And then I go to neutrals, and I'm also going to darken there. That puts a lot of contrast between her and the sky. So here in the neutrals, we can also play with the colors. I'm going to add a little bit more magenta, but I'm also going to add some reds. And I'm also going to add a little bit of yellow. And that just brings up the colors, the natural colors of the sky. So then the next thing I'm going to do is make a curves layer. I'm going to just bump this mid-tones down slightly. And then my next layer will be my levels. I'm going to bump up the mid-tones and pull down the shadows. And the next thing I'm going to do is go into color balance. I'm just going to see what it looks like whenever I adjust some of these colors. So if I add into the midtones some reds, maybe slight blues, that makes it kind of a cool image. I kind of like the blues a little. We can do that with our highlights, and that will really bring out the colors. So just a tiny bit of red, and it makes a huge difference. So I'm going to bump that down just a little. And the next thing I'm going to do is add an exposure layer. So I'm going to bump the offset up just slightly. It gives it a tiny bit of a matte effect. And I'm going to take this down and maybe bump up the exposure slightly. And then the last thing I'm going to do is add a brightness contrast layer. So I'm going to play with this. I'm not sure yet what I want to do. So if I want to take down the brightness and up the contrast, or if I want to up the brightness and take down the contrast. I think I kind of like it like this a little. That makes it pop a little. So then I'm going to group the layers and select the background layer. And we're going to go ahead and take the spot healing brush and just get out all of these little specks, and that's from the light hitting the grass. And it kind of gives a reflection. So there we go, and that is how I create the colors in a silhouette image. Thank you for watching.